Alright guys, so we've got to talk about Lost Soul Aside. It recently got a pretty big update at the State of Play, new gameplay, along with, finally the release date, the 30th of May, so in a few months' time. Most of you will know that this has been an incredibly long time coming, with the game first being revealed back in 2016. Though, it's actually recently been confirmed that this game has been in development since 2015, meaning that this year would mark a total of a decade since the game first entered into production by one person. Lost Soul Aside is very much a fast-paced action game. Dodging, parrying, quick combos, weapon switching. This is taking a lot of inspiration from Devil May Cry, though it also takes some visual inspiration from Final Fantasy XV when looking at its themes and design. It's also said that there are some light RPG elements sprinkled throughout. It really is a breath of fresh air to get a high-quality game like this, as it absolutely harkens back to the old school hack and slash action games we used to receive on PS2 or Xbox 360. And as we've been talking about recently, there is definitely a renaissance of these kind of games finally making a return to help balance out the absurd amount of Souls-likes we've been receiving over the past few years. The story of this game revolves around main character Kaiser journeying through multiple worlds and dimensions in order to save his sister's soul. This is why we've seen so much variation within the levels in the world of Lost Soul Aside throughout its numerous trailers. Ulti-Zero games aren't just restricted to one fantasy type of environment design, because they've got the whole jumping from dimension to dimension concept going on. So we've got modern fantasy cities, somewhere up in the mountains, ancient ruins, wherever this location is, snow-capped mountains. The game is just super diverse when it comes to its level design. The most recent trailer showed us that we're not just trying to save our sister's soul, but in fact, multiple. It also seems that the world that Kaiser and his sister comes from is also at peril too, from what's stated here on the official PlayStation page. Fight to save your world. It even mentions saving your own soul as well. We've also seen this big dragon being featured throughout a lot of the different trailers. No doubt this alludes to the fact that this is the main antagonist for the game, likely the thing responsible for the invasion of the enemies known as the Void Drax, stealing souls and destroying worlds. A little bit Kingdom Hearts-ish, I guess you could say. And speaking of a Kingdom Hearts-ish kind of vibe, the most recent trailer literally starts off with Kaiser's sister explaining that she's been having this dream where her world gets invaded by the enemies known as the Void Drags, and she's not sure if it's real or just a dream. Very reminiscent of how Kingdom Hearts 1 first began. This clip was obviously shown for a reason, so perhaps maybe everything that is happening isn't actually happening and it's a dream scenario. Who knows? Throughout Kaiser's journey, he's accompanied by a small floating dragon. I believe this thing is known as Arena. I have to wonder if this very large dragon thing here is actually Arena, and that perhaps this thing and Kaiser ended up making a deal to help one another. Though part of me thinks otherwise, as in this trailer we see a boss fight between Kaiser and another very large dragon that looks very similar to this one. Now Arena is actually Kaiser's weaponry. He's able to transform into multiple different weapons, as this game features a real-time weapon switching system, which allows weapons to be switched mid-combo to create some really unique attack combinations. So very Devil May Cry, and just like Devil May Cry, each weapon contains a different playstyle. It also looks like Arena can be used to traverse through the environments, though these do look very much scripted. There are moments here where Arena can transform into a pair of wings, or a board used to slide, or even literally a platform to run on. The game also features a style meter, an ability system, finishes, and usable items. Enemies also have levels indicated above their health bars, which tells us that there is likely a level system for Kaiser. If you are looking for Devil May Cry depth and complexity to the combat system, then look no further. I think this demonstration right here absolutely proves that. Back in January of this year, the director of Lost Solarcide, Yang Bing, the original creator who started developing this game literally by himself, was interviewed by an outlet known as 36KR. They got onto the topic of the entire process of the journey that Lost Solarcide has undergone from beginning to almost end. The first question that was asked here was Yang Bing's experiences and thoughts during the process of Lost Solarcide's development, considering it's been in the works for such a long time. He mentioned that due to that initial reveal trailer that was released back in 2016, generating so much attention and getting a lot of encouragement from people discovering it, he went on to get more people to help him out with the project. He mentioned that for some time, the development of this game was a little bit rough. They apparently kept making mistakes, and the overall team's morale was at an incredibly low point. And when asked if the current version of Lost Solarcide we see today in 2025 is the same vision that was displayed back in 2016, he said that many of the original resources and assets have been completely retained, though quite literally everything for all of these years leading up to release has simply just been improved and enriched. A lot of the time spent working on Lost Solarcide has actually been Yang Bing and his team improving their expertise towards video game development, as in the early stages of 2015 and 2016, he felt that his personal experience and ability was not sufficient enough in order to officially complete and release the game. Much of the time leading up to 2021 has simply just been on building Ulti0 games and recruiting more developers. So it's understandable why Lost Solarcide has taken such a long time to release. This project quite literally started off as an indie and has evolved into a AAA full-scale video game. I think that Yang Bing is trying to say that the original intent and vision of this game has very much still remained the same, but it's become something much bigger than what was originally intended. Which in fact, it wasn't until 2021 where a promotional video of the game was released, which I believe is this one right here, where the overall core focus, ideas, and concepts of what this game is going to be and how it's going to work was finalized. So full-scale development of Lost Solarcide with the core idea in mind didn't begin until 2021. That means about 4 years total raw development time, working from start to finish. Now, something that I do feel will be very different in the final version compared to the footage of 2016 are the locations we see in this announcement trailer. There is a lot of varied locations, and again, I think this was always the idea from the very beginning of development back in 2015 to have quite a big focus on diversity of environments. I'm sure that a lot of those original locations have been expanded upon, as some of them are very familiar to what we're seeing in the more recent trailers. But a lot of what we saw in that 2016 trailer has either been completely changed or an evolution has taken place. I think the best example here is the change in level structure. That original trailer showed us very large, wide open, almost open world environments, and we can even see that Kaiser's using the wing transformation of Arena to traverse around the environment within gameplay, whereas I think now the wings have just simply been subjected to scripted sequences, and it definitely looks like the levels have become a lot more linear. Personally, I think this is a really good move. I don't think that large, wide open world environments are best suited for action hack and slash games. Linear is definitely the better approach. The interviewer mentioned that they had tried the latest Lost Solarcide demo, and that the smoothness of operation and visual effects have been significantly improved compared to the previous version. What key optimizations have been made to the game in the past year, and what problems will be focused on solving from now until the official release? Based on the version that everyone played last time, we have made optimizations according to the feedback from Sony and other testers, including optimizing all of the enemies. These details are still continuously being polished. When it reaches a a certain level, we will lock in a version that we are relatively satisfied with. In addition, we have spent a lot of time on the scene art because this project was established relatively early. It was during the PlayStation 4 era, and a large number of assets were produced at that time. After fully transplanting to PS5, we upgraded the graphics. Last year, the entire art assets were optimized. They also mentioned that they're going to be making adjustments to both animation and the story plot of the game up until release. What's more is the team at one stage were considering migrating their progress over to Unreal Engine 5, but due to some drawbacks with doing this, the team just opted for using the most up-to-date version of UE4, so Lost Soul Aside is a UE4 title. So that's all that was mentioned with Yangbing. I love this because it explains why Lost Soul Aside has been taking so long to release. Everything that was happening with Ultizero Games from 2016 to 2021 was simply just creating assets, creating the framework of the game, and further improving the skill set of all of the developers. Now, it is important to give Sony some flowers here in this situation though too, because Lost Soul Aside, Yangbing and his team were picked up by Sony to join the China Hero project. Now, this provides PlayStation with the benefit of being able to launch a game that is part of the China Hero project exclusively on PlayStation as a console exclusive, though it doesn't necessarily mean locked exclusivity. We know that Lost Soul Aside is launching on the same day on PC. Lost Soul Aside has received a ton of polish over these past few years. Comparing the 2016 version to the version we have now is a night and day difference, and that is largely due in part to the funding that has been provided by Sony. I think that if Ultizero Games and Yangbing were never picked up by the China Hero project, we'd have a very different looking version of this game. That being said though, even the version that we saw back in 2016, how it was solely developed by Yangbing himself, will always and forever impress me. There was also a slight update to the China Hero project that was mentioned here in this article, mentioning how the vision of this project by Sony is going from AA to AAA. Up until recently, China Hero Project has focused on supporting mainly small to medium-sized Eastern development teams, but they want to start also chucking in medium to large teams, as due to the success of Black Myth Wukong, it reflects that AAA quality video games within the Chinese market are actually successful. And this is why we are starting to see so many high quality video games coming from Eastern developers. And lastly, the game is in fact getting a physical release. Bless, though at this stage it's only confirmed for both the US and UK. We also have some pre-order bonuses, 500 Divinities Gold, the in-game currency, along with 10 high potions, and a skin for Kaiser, which is his original outfit that can be seen in the very first 2016 announcement trailer. The Digital Deluxe Edition also includes some extra goodies like an arena skin, turning him completely gold, some sword cosmetics, an XP booster badge, and a health booster necklace. Yes, there are equipable accessories and stuff in this game, and also with all of these cosmetic additions right here, it looks like there's also going to be some cosmetic stuff throughout the game too, hopefully not just exclusive to pre-order bonuses. So that's everything to do with Lost Soul Aside for the time being. Not too long until launch. It almost feels like a fever dream that we're finally receiving this. I think honestly, if the game is going to be as good as it looks, this will absolutely be one of the best games of this year. I so desperately want the game to be a big success. For the sake of Yangbing and his team, is clearly a lot of time and passion and raw dedication has been funneled into this. Be sure to leave your thoughts and opinions in the comment section down below. How are you currently feeling about this game, and is it a day one pickup? Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Be sure to slap that like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. A big thank you to my wonderful patrons. Thank you guys so much for the continued support. I hope you're all having a fantastic day, and we'll talk again real soon.